MUSTAPHA AMINU WAZIRI TAMBUWAL Legacy Foundation, also known as MART Legacy Initiative, is a humanitarian and social development organization. Our focus is in health, education, issues of environment and climate change, rehabilitation and reintegration of victims of social dysfunction in this community and society at large. I'll start by my favorite quote by William Cooper. Existence is a strange bargain. Life owes us little, we owe it everything. The only true happiness comes from squandering ourselves for a purpose. Therefore, I've chosen to squander myself for this purpose, to develop society and contribute my quota in improving the wellness of humanity. MART Legacy Initiative as a foundation is only about 2 years old. A time within which we have achieved a lot, hopefully, through self-will and remarkable support and collaborations. We've had very supportive technical and some financial support in the execution of some of the programs.
Well, we are working with the organization because we think there's a dire need to get young people, women, and persons with disabilities more involved in the decision-making processes here in Sokoto State and also across Nigeria.
Some of the most outstanding intervention programs we've had and embarked on include the MART prison reform or prison outreach, where we interface with hosts of prisoners that had been awaiting trial for small crimes as minor as a case of borrowing money, loss of property. And I'll take a case of a woman who had been who borrowed 20,000 naira but defaulted on the payment. Consequently was arrested with her 1-year-old daughter, both of whom were taken to the prison, and they were in the prisons for about 3 months awaiting trial. But on our intervention, we were able to pay the fine so she could go. Now we have cases like that where people are in jail for months, some for years, because they either defaulted in paying back some loans or breaching some agreements, and they're not even tried. For us, that is one area that we have really invested a lot of energy, time and resources, to where we need to intervene for judicial expediency, we have. Where we need to intervene on paying the fines and getting to reintegrate those people into society again, we have. Where we have to do some psychological therapeutic session for angry victims who had been in jail, we have. In our Going Green agenda to save our environment, we have flagged off the primary school tree planting campaign. Interestingly, we hope in the next 6 months we would have cut across 500 schools within and outside the Sokoto State metropolis. The intention of the tree planting campaign is to inculcate at the very formative years of these children the benefits of going green, the serenity of having trees, and the effect it has on their lives and on their parents' lives, so they can take the message across. As of today, we have set out for 10 schools to compete against each other with our siblings, where we would have very renowned environmentalists do the impact assessment and ultimately decide who the winner is, just to encourage more schools to participate in this, and then they can help with the messages and value we want to get out of our tree campaign and Going Green message in a state like Sokoto, especially where the certification and good environmental position degradation is really high in this part of the sub-Saharan Africa. Many of the stated issues are ravaging our communities and limiting our people. For instance, in education, according to the Girl Effect Report of 2016, 79.5% of girls in Sokoto do not have formal education. Hence the need for our intervention, just to change the narrative. Thankfully, in education, a state of emergency has been declared by His Excellency, Right Honorable AMINU TAMBUWAL, to boost enrollment, get the cooperation and support of parents, community leaders, and more, so that their education agenda can be pushed forward and value gotten out of it. As a foundation, we're very interested in and very keen on empowering the girl child in the areas of decision making, empowerment, education, protection. Now, our approach is this: every child needs to realize that she has a sense of entitlement to her own life. So with that message, we intend to implement every other thing that supports that notion, that self-awareness in the girl child of who she truly is and who she should be. Talent management and identification is something that is paramount to us. We were at a flag of tree planting in schools yesterday, and there was a 4-year-old child who was reading a letter signed by all of her classmates and colleagues. It was very moving because she wasn't reading in English. She was reading in her native language, which is Hausa, and it's a very difficult language to read, even as an adult. But for a 4-year-old child to read that to me. Now, these are the areas we were really keen on spotting talents so we can nurture those children, you know, into being whoever they will turn out to be, hopefully positive and productive people in society. MARYAM Legacy Initiative, as a foundation, is interested in giving voice or voices to rare diseases like NOMA, which has largely been relegated to the back burner. NOMA is a disease that is impacting negatively in the lives of young children under the age of 6, and according to the WHO report, it's a case where it is projected that yearly we would have 150,000 of NOMA cases around the world. There's a case of a baby who had not eaten for about 7 months, that's for the baby, and then for an adult who had not eaten for about 14 months. You see their jaws like they have mom, but apparently the mouth has been sealed or so as a result of the disease. So we've had surgeons come in who had worked on them, and for the first time, the adult victim, the patient was saying to me, in 14 years, this is the first time he's eaten through his mouth. And the child, in the last 7 months, is the first time he can be fed without a tube in the mouth. Now, these are all consequences of malnutrition and acute poverty. If you go to the NOMA hospital, you see children where, as soon as the disease starts to spread, their ears have gone back into the skin. There was a child who was operated on. They had to take out his eyes before the surgeons could work. Some, they had to reconstruct their nose. So it really, really, really is a killer disease, psychologically and physically.
Came from Her Excellency to the work executive government association with the patients and staff of the hospital.
We hope to create more awareness, solicit support for interventions on NOMA diseases, how to stop it, and how to also treat it. This is a disease that even in the Western world are unidentified with. So that's why MAWT wants to give this particular disease, NOMA, a voice and give victims of NOMA an opportunity to live. MAWT as a foundation has articulated the current needs in those focus areas, identified the causalities, thereby mobilizing support through advocacies, collaboration, civil society engagement, door-to-door campaigns, reviewing impact assessment reports of both government, other NGOs, and our own activities since we set out on this path. MARYAM Legacy Fund as a foundation and the realities on ground, it is inevitable we solicit for help beyond the confines of our comfort zone. We are looking at engaging the private sector, development partners, and other platforms like more on civil society engagement and the media for advocacy and for interventions. We really are hoping there are development partners out there who are understanding the pain we feel for these people and in these areas that affect human survival, and can come forth so we can work together and impact on humanity.